Center, Melinda Neal.
I've tried to run around all day, had hopes and stuff, but it's not going to happen. I am so excited to have all of you here for our 8th annual Leadership Conference and Resiliency Summit. As Dennis kind of alluded to, we've got an amazing panel, we've got fantastic workshops. But to kick us off this day, we've got Pastor Mona Thompson, who's the senior pastor of Jubilee Churches here in Grafton and in Stoughton and Mattapan. I love Grafton, so I want to plug it everywhere. Come on back. We only have 150 churches, we can use one more. But Pastor Mona is a phenomenal speaker. She outreaches to those in need. She works with youth. She empowers young people across the Commonwealth, and we are just so fortunate to have her here today to be our keynote speaker. So without further ado, we invite Pastor Mona to the stage.
Who invited me, and Christy and I are determined to change the world. And we're starting in Massachusetts, and then we'll branch out into other places. So I just, Dennis pretty much gave us our keynote. He took my entire speech, so I can just throw all my cards out the window and out the door. But I want to just talk about the fact that all of us are in this room, and some of us know each other, some of us don't. I had the fortunate time last month to meet the keynote, the panelists that I would be asking questions of later. And I was so impressed to be in the room with 3 Black men, Cameroon, Haiti, and I just kept looking at them and just saying, I'm just so impressed. And I feel like the news media needs to see more men like you. And then as I read Malika's story, and I told them all that I Googled them, and I had to make sure they were okay, because I don't want to be like on a panel and asking questions and y'all got these like hidden lives, right? But I mean, these are amazing community changers, community activists, and I'm just so happy to meet them. I woke up today and I was really excited about coming and just sharing and learning more about the 4 of you. But here's the thing, United Way has done some amazing things, and I wanted to talk a little bit about United Way because when I did a little bit more research on United Way, I figured that this is what resiliency is all about. In 1887, there was a woman. Can you say a woman? A woman. There was a woman, a priest, 2 ministers, and a rabbi that got together to create this organization, and they pulled together $21,000. In today's time, that would be $535,000 that these 5 people pulled together. They pulled it together to start an organization that would do good for people in communities. And so I start with that story because here we are in this room, and if 5 of us decide to pool our resources together, we could make change that is imprinted into communities all over, not just the United States, because the United Way services 1,800 communities across the United States, but they also service people in over 40 countries. Is that amazing? When I came in today and I had an opportunity to speak to Melinda just for a few seconds, Melinda was so excited to tell me about the family center and how you can go into a family center and you can get anything that you need. Anything. You can get health care, you can access child care, you can access just about any need that you have. And even as you walk along the corridor, you see all of these organizations that are represented that have partnered with the United Way. But Melinda didn't know that she was saying to me all the research that I saw when I was going through all the things that the United Way does. And she was like, we are able to do so much stuff for people because of the resources that we have. And I think that there's so much negative that goes on in the media today, but I think today is the day that we're starting in the Brockton, Stoughton, and the South Shore area, where we'll walk away knowing that no matter what your story is, you can make a difference. So in order to be a catalyst for change, you must understand resiliency. See, I didn't wake up, and I don't think any of us woke up one day and said, hey, I want to be resilient. Just give me all obstacles that I can overcome. Does anybody wake up like that? Hey, I know Fabiola, and when I met Fabiola, I thought, what an amazing woman, but I don't think Fabiola woke up one day and said, hey, I would like cancer so that I can now start a support group. I don't think anybody wakes up like that. I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I want my first marriage to be a marriage that is domestic violence, or I want to be an advocate and for someone having a child, a teenage pregnant mom. Hey, I want to be a person whose father is absent so I can understand the plight of fatherlessness. I don't think any of us wake up saying, I want to be resilient. But I want to share with you that no matter what you go through, there is something that you can take away from it to empower and extend a scepter to someone else. So I want to share with you just a few things in my life that have helped me to be resilient. I come from a Cape Verdean heritage. My great-grandfather came over on a boat, came in through Rhode Island, and he decided that he was going to make his way to Duxbury, Massachusetts, and he worked really hard and saved his money and purchased land for his children, and he was a cranberry bogger. My grandmother, through her father's story, and then both of her parents died when she was very young, she would say to me when I was a young girl, Mona, nothing beats a failure but a try. See, most of us, the reason that we get frozen is that we're afraid to try because we're afraid to fail. But my grandmother would say to me, nothing beats a failure but a try, because how many of us know that it's through trying and failing that one day we will succeed? Our challenges determine our future, and every person in this room has a great destiny. I want you to repeat after me the same way that you said good morning. I'm expecting that you're going to say this with all the energy, all the resolve, all the charge that you have. I am destined for success.
I am destined for success.
And I think we can amplify that a little bit. I want you to get that thing in your head. And I want you to see like what you're believing your success is. And then I want us to repeat it again. I am destined for success.
I am destined for success.
See, if you're going to be successful, the first part words that are playing in our mind all the time. And so what you have to do, and I'm telling you, anyone who knows me knows I'm a person that I'm very big on language. I'm very big on what I say about myself. I'm very big on what people say around me. I don't allow negativity in my atmosphere. So the first part of anything that you're going to do is that you have to keep repeating it. I mean, it's so important to wake up in the morning and say, look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. I mean, who can love you better than you? So when I wake up in the morning, I just look at myself. And I'm not all done up like this. I might have drool coming down. I might have sweet juice in my eyes. But I look myself in the mirror and I say, I love you. Look at you, girl. You woke up today. I mean, my granddaughter, every day she wakes up, she wakes up and she comes running into our room and she goes, I woke up! And it's like she announced it. And I said, man, if everybody did that, I mean, you woke up today. Isn't that amazing? That is amazing. So what happens is once you begin to repeat and articulate and you keep saying the same thing to yourself, saying positive things over and over, then after you say it so many times, you begin to believe it. See, it's easy to believe that black men aren't doing anything, that black men are drug dealers, that black men are all these negative things, but now you're sitting and you're faced with these 3 black men that are doing something amazing in the community. So the first part is saying it, but then the second part is believing it. You have to believe what you are saying to yourself and about yourself is something that can happen. And then the third part is you have to work hard. See, in this time of instant everything, I'm going to be a social media influencer. I'm going to get 100,000 people to follow me. I'm going to be Insta fame, Insta everything, Insta microwave. See, no, but let me tell you something. That is some hard work. See, first you have to say it, then you have to believe it, and then you have to work hard. Because faith without working hard is dead.
Yes.
Without me even talking to them, I know that within each of them is something that they are all going to say is they have to work hard to see the results of what they're believing for. So I'm the product of an absentee father. I've seen my father less than 10 times, a teenage mom. I've moved from community to community. I attended over almost 10 or 11 schools before I graduated from high school. I had my first child at 19. I did drugs. I sold drugs. I was promiscuous. Yep, me. I was in a domestic violence situation. Then I was a widow. Then I remarried. And then my life began to change, to turn around. So sometimes when you see someone, you just see where they are now, but you don't know the hell that I had to go through before I got to where I am today. And so I want to encourage you that it doesn't matter where you are right now, it doesn't matter what you're facing right now, that you can make it. Resilience teaches us to adjust to change or hardship. And even though my life took a turn for the better, just 5 years ago, I was in another major battle. I received a telephone call asking if my husband and I could take in our 3 grandchildren. One at the time was 9 months, one was 6, and one was 12. And so here I was in the prime of my life. My son was in high school, and my husband and I made plans for the next 4 years. We were going to be empty nesters. He's going to be off at college, and we're going to be traveling the world. And so I said, taking a 9-month-old? I'm like in my late 40s. What are you talking about? And so we found out that our daughter was on drugs, and she wasn't doing well at all. And so we had to make our grandchildren in. And we took them in, and it was a long, hard battle. It was a struggle to try to find and see where our daughter was, searching the streets, and the opiate crisis that has plagued Massachusetts, and the DCF crisis that has plagued Massachusetts had now found its way into our house. And so we had to make some decisions, and we made the decisions, and you know, it's been a struggle, but we learned to be resilient and to adjust to change. And so we're facing so much today. We're facing many mental health challenges. We just saw in the news that 2 prominent people have taken their lives: school violence and shootings, police brutality, social media bullying, poverty, homelessness, pornography, human trafficking, education disparity, drug, alcohol abuse, obesity, health challenges, and the political crises. We could go on and on, but the truth is, we are called to be change agents. We are called to be the answer to someone else's problem. That's why we're here today. We're the resilient ones. And I want you to say it again. I am destined for success.
I am destined for success.
We're here today on a mission to lead from our seat. See, I could be quiet about all the crises that I have faced in my life, or I could be transparent about it and stand tall and say, hey, I made it and you can make it too. And so we're leading from our seat. We're leading right from where we are. I'm leading my church. I can lead from my pain, which I turned into triumph. I can lead because I understand that if I'm silent, then I cannot make a change. You can start a revolution. Your story, your ability to see problems, your ability to see a solution. Because that's what a problem is only a problem until you resolve to change it. You have to be in tune with what you think about, what pushes your buttons, what fires you up, what you're passionate about. And once you identify this, what you need to do is then reach out and do the thing that you are called to do, because no one else can do what you're called to do. I don't care how many businesses exist in a community. When I think about Tech, he could have said, there are so many barbershops, I don't need to open another barbershop. But he did it, and he's successful, and he's opened up 2, and now he's going to have a franchise of barbershops. So whatever you're called to do, let your story drive you. Be tenacious. Don't give up. Have the resolve that you know that you're going to be successful. Connect with whoever you need to connect with. And today is a good day to start connecting with some people that are here, that are serious about being resilient, that are serious about being leaders, and that are serious about leading from where they are. And so now we're going to hear from the experts, the influencers, the change agents, the key holders, the community leaders gathered to extend their scepter to facilitate change. We're sharing our story in an effort to encourage a shift in the South Shore. And so I'm so excited to be seated. I told them I can't stand here and ask you guys a bunch of questions. I have to be right with you. So I'm going to bring my mic over. Carry my torch. And so I will let the panelists introduce themselves, and then we'll go from there. Some first.
I need some good cards. I just got what I paper. I'm like jealous over here. So I am Monica Artie. And let me think of why I'm here. I've been working in the greater Boston community for many, many years, supporting families and trying to support parent support roles. And so that's, I guess, a little bit about me.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Royale Rodden. Yes. I'm a transformational speaker. becoming a transformational speaker, I've made some very, very bad decisions. And then after I made those bad decisions, I decided to dedicate my life to helping other people avoid some of the pitfalls that I wasn't able to avoid.
Good morning. How you doing? My name is Stigmore Desire, but some of you guys know me as Tech. Stigmore, I want to tell you guys something. It means Lord in Greek, I believe. But I'm the founder of Starlines. I was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. I came here with you guys might get mad, but I'm from New York. I'm a Brooklyn native in Japan, as you can see. But I came out to Brooklyn at the age of 18. I got into some crazy illegal stuff. But that kind of changed my life around. So I decided to do something different because street life, there's only two options. There's jail or death. So I chose life. So I'm gonna pass it on. I'm a little nervous right now. I'm sorry, guys, but and Royal hates when I say that, but I am. I like to be honest. You know, I like to say how I feel. But yeah, I came out when I was 18, so I changed my life around. And when my son was born, I decided to you know what? I gotta do something with myself. So instead of working a 9 to 5, I decided let me take a chance on myself. Let me invest in myself because nobody else is gonna do that for me. So I decided to open up my first barbershop in Brockton. Even though there was a lot of friends of mine that was telling me, hey, it's not gonna work out. Oh, you're gonna fail. And I kind of looked at them and said, you know what? Thank you for that. I needed that because that was my fuel right there. And I did it. And I opened up the doors. 5 years later, the second shop is opening up. And
How we doing this morning? We doing good? How we doing this morning? Great. Doing good? You doing good? All right. I love it. Well, my name is Steve. I'm 25 years old. Well, I like to say 25 years young, but we'll keep it at 25 years old. I was born in Cameroon, came here at the age of 5. I'm West African. Shout out to the West Africans in the house. I'm a servant to the community, and also I'm a co-founder of S&T Philosophies. Our company is geared towards, helping students build emotional intelligence because that's lacking in our education system and in our community in general. We need emotional intelligence. And besides that, I'm just a person who likes to have fun and enjoy life, and feel free to chat. I'll be more than happy to talk with each and every one of you guys. All right, that is it.
Great. So now that we know a little bit about our panelists, I want to start with Royale. What is your definition of resiliency as it relates to your personal story and career/calling?
Wow, I love that question. I feel like resiliency has been a part of my whole life. I know some of you have heard the saying that goes, fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. Right? Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom in order to change. And resiliency, I believe resiliency is being shameless in your pursuit to happiness. I believe resiliency is asking for help when you feel alone, when you feel that you're unable to get yourself out of the bed, when you feel that you're unable to solve the problems that you're dealing with. You ask for help, you're shameless, you put down your pride, and you continue to go on. And that's what I believe resiliency means to me.
Thank you. And I just want to kind of tag on that, especially in light of the press that we're hearing about the chef and
Kate Spade, the designer who took their lives due to mental illness, is that when you need help to ask for it. And so I thank you for pointing that out. And so, Malika, I want to ask you this question. What barriers have you faced that relate to culture, gender, age, or economic status?
I think the better question is, what barriers haven't I faced based on all of those things? I mean, I'm Black, I'm a woman, I was a teenage parent, I have Black parents, therefore they faced many challenges, had many traumas, and then when you're born to a family that hasn't been able to get the healing they need, it's just porous. It goes through right into you. You, from the very beginning of your life, are holding things that you had nothing to do with. So I would say that from the beginning, my mother is adopted and didn't know either of her parents, and so being a parent was very challenging for her since she hadn't had parents. And my father, the exact opposite, came from a big, loud West Indian family, and he was a football star in Cambridge, and he was very popular. There was something about that stress that created I don't think he had the support he needed either, so he didn't know what to do with it, and ended up a substance abuser. And so my parents decided to take their substance abuse selves and go move to Amherst, Massachusetts to go to college. And so I was born in Cambridge, but moved to Amherst very early with two parents that really didn't have the skills they needed to be parents, to co-parent, and so therefore I found myself raising myself for the majority of my childhood. I was not only raising myself, but then my mother had more kids and I raised them. And so I started out as a mom at 7, 8 years old, taking care of my brother, and then she had my sister and I moved out. So I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. You know, I've been doing this since I was little. She followed me to Cambridge and I continued to parent my siblings while she was a raging alcoholic. I will say that there's a happy ending to that story because my mother is 69 and going on her 5th year sober. About resilience, the fact that our family, I welcomed her into my home and she now lives with me, was a big deal because we didn't think we would get there. You know, through my teenage years, I tried to help my parents be clear how poorly they did. I was like, let me show you how that turned out. And so then I became a parent very early because I'd been parenting since I was a kid anyway, so why not? So I had my son when I was 18 and I had, I would say, I had 3 kids by 23. And so now, I think back on why I sit here to reflect on what it was like being a teen parent, what it was like being, you know, my father telling me hold my head high, feeling so much shame because everybody thought I was going to be a lawyer, was going to go off to college and achieve all these things, and then this happened. And so it took a lot for me to be able to walk in my truth and be okay with how I got where I was and what had happened, and know that I would move forward. And I had to have that belief because a lot of people didn't have that belief about me. They were just like, oh, well, there goes another one, you know, that kind of attitude about me. So I would say that teenage parenting, that all of those cycles and abuse and things that come from being in a trauma-filled family are the barriers that I had to work against.
Thank you. It's awesome to see you overcome and to be a community change agent. I want to direct this question to Stephen. What is your definition of resiliency as it relates to your personal story and career calling?
All right. Resiliency. Well, to me, resiliency is a lot like commitment. And that is doing what you said you would do long after the movie set it in is gone, right? A lot of us, when we say we're excited about something, we're excited about an idea that we have, we're excited about this new project, this new career. You know, but are you committed to the process of winning? Are you resilient enough to win?
this didn't take, this, I didn't succeed in it. I learned through it, and how am I going to switch it up and change my game plan around? Because it's not failing, it's actually learning through the process. That's how I feel. That's my opinion on that. But it's always falling and getting back up. That's all it is. If you fall, your legs ain't broken, get yourself right back up and do it again. And go harder. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna get stuck. You know? That's
Yes, thank you. And I think that's one of the things that is important to get across today is that, you must try, because you'll never know if you don't try. And a lot of times we get things stuck in our head and we're like, if I only had X amount of dollars, then I could do this. Or if I only had, people that I was connected to, then this would be more successful. But there are connections that you're making every day that you would never know, like the person you're sitting next to, or you could be one phone call away from just that next breakthrough for something that you want to do. Malika, I do have a question that I think this probably gets overlooked and part of who you are. When there's a lot of, does anyone know where Amherst is? Do people know where Amherst is? Okay, some of you, okay. So, your parents, one West Indian, one African American, decide to take a move to Amherst. And that was over 30 plus years ago? 45 years ago. So what was Amherst like in 45 years ago, and how did you adjust to such a culture, which I would imagine would be a culture shock?
So it's all in you, because I was one.
Okay.
The culture shock was when I left and moved back to Cambridge when I was 14. But I will say, I always talk about my brother and I, because my brother is 7 years younger than me. There's a definite point in Amherst where you choose whether you're going to be black or you're going to be white, even as a black person. And so you make a choice, are all your friends, are you going to hang with the black kids because the black kids don't hang with the white kids? Or are you going to hang with the white kids and be with them? And so my brother and I made different choices. And so it really was interesting what it did to our household, that he just, he had, the white rope bracelet, right, and the dockers, and we just couldn't have been more different. And I ended up getting in a lot of trouble, and they were fighting, and I was like, I don't know how to fight, and I'll learn. Because I had gone to private school my whole life, and then public school, my mother couldn't swing it anymore. My father was long gone at that point, and so she couldn't swing it, so I ended up in public school, and I was the only black girl in my class from kindergarten to 7th grade. So there's that. And then when you went into the high school, there was a very clear line, and you had to make a choice. And so I think that still holds in our household to this day. When my brother lives in Beverly, and is on a dart team, and only comes into Boston to get haircuts. And I work in the greater Boston community in the heart of Roxbury, going up into the housing development areas and making it happen. So we just still have held and perpetuated that. So I would say that Amherst is a wonderful place to grow up. I was on a horseback riding team, a gymnastics team, and I think it broadens my scope of what is available, what people could do if they wanted to. And I am thankful for that, because I don't think if I had that experience, I would know that. And I meet people all the time, but they're like, an equestrian team, what's that? Yeah, you can do that. wanted to, right? And so I think that has built into who I am as a woman.
So the differences that you faced as a result of living in Amherst and then coming back and living in Cambridge have helped shape you to be an even greater community activist.
I believe so. Except that when I got back, I used to wave to everybody, and my father would be like, put your hand down. I was like, this is not Amherst.
Royale, this question is for you. What is the one thing that you want to be remembered for?
That's an amazing question. I want to be remembered for a lot of things, right? I'm going to stick to one. But I'm trying to figure out how do I say what I want to be remembered for without telling my story. I didn't tell my story yet. But if I had to choose one thing I want to be remembered for, it would be that change is possible. No matter what walk of life you have taken, you can change that into something positive. If you have been smoking for 30 years, you could one day stop. If you have been on drugs for 20, 30 years, you could one day stop. If you was once a drug dealer, you could one day change that around and become positive in your community. So I say, like, for a drug dealer, you might be, slinging rocks, slinging heroin, slinging marijuana, and you could one day sling hope. So I would say change is possible, no matter what walk of life you're in. And how do I know that change is possible? Because I'm a walking testimony of change.
I think it's important to, why don't we stay right there? And some of the things that Royale, didn't say about himself, and I just want to mention, and it's in the book. He's a poet, transformational speaker, entrepreneur, educator, and a community activist. But I love this quote that drives you: no man or woman has ever become great without making great mistakes. And so can you tell us your story as it relates to transformation and being an overcomer?
Okay. Well, my heritage is Haitian. I'm Haitian American, they say, but I don't like to say Haitian American. I'm Haitian. I grew up in a single parent home. My mother didn't speak any English, but she was very resilient. She wanted to make sure that she gave me the best education possible. She put me in Catholic school from my first grade to seventh grade. I went to Catholic school. I got kicked out from 7th grade to 8th grade. I went to Seventh Day Adventist school. And they kicked me out because they tolerated me. In high school, I went to 5 high schools. But at a very early age, I chose the life of crime. Sometimes people can say that you did a crime, it was a mistake. It was not a mistake. That's what I wanted to be. I made a decision that was the end all be all. Not that I wasn't great at other things, I was great at art. But whenever I was met with a challenge in art, I quit. And no one held me accountable. Whenever I was met with a challenge in boxing, I quit. And no one held me accountable. Whenever I was met with a challenge in track and field, I quit. And no one held me accountable. But the gangsters and the drug dealers on my block, they showed me a lot of accountability. They pulled up in nice cars, big jewelry, big chains with large wads of cash, all saying out their pocket. And you know what? They used to send me to the corner store and let me keep the change. They used to hide plastic bags of rocks in my boxing gloves. They used to let me pick out crack bottles from between the bushes. And I told myself that this is what I wanted to be, because this was how I was going to help me and my mother escape poverty. I mean, there was teachers in the community, there was, there was doctors, but I didn't see any signs of success from them as far as what I thought success was. So I said, I'm gonna sell drugs, and this is how I'm gonna escape poverty. And it's not until, I sold drugs for a long time. I like to say I was very successful in selling drugs for a long time, which made me not stop it. But I remember when I was facing 15 years for trafficking, and I thought back about it, and I said, wow, I'm gonna be away for 15 years, away from my children, away from my family, and my biggest fear was I didn't want my mother to die while I was incarcerated. Because I didn't think I would be able to live with that. I've seen other inmates go to their parents' funerals in cuffs and shackles. And when they get back to the unit, they they're losing their mind. And I didn't want to carry that burden. Because my mother, she did the best she could to give me the best life she believed was the best life for me. So anyway, I beat the 15 years at trial. I ended up getting 3.5 years. And sometimes when you are used to living a certain way and used to following a certain path, you try to convince yourself, well, this time when I get out, I'm going to do it this way. Because that way didn't work. But if I try to go around this way, it might work this time. But I'm here to say that the life of crime, selling drugs, whether it's fraud, crime, whatever it is, you'll get caught one day. I don't care how much money you have, how smart you are, how much you think you can get over on people, you will get caught one day. And if you don't get caught, then you'll get killed one day. You'll die one day, or maybe both. And so what happened was, I made a decision that I had to change, right? There's a saying that goes, it's insane to keep doing the same things and expect different results. So, I had to unlearn some of the behavior patterns that I learned along the way. I had to unlearn that way of thinking. I had to break ties with certain individuals. I had to change my environment. And I did that. And I've been out of prison for 7 years. And right now, I dedicated my life to helping other people avoid some of the pitfalls I wasn't able to avoid. And I decided to do it in schools, high schools, colleges, everywhere someone would listen. And then I realized that I need my own place to be able to help other people avoid those pitfalls, because sometimes I try to get into places and they don't want to hear me speak, or they don't want to allow me to do what I feel like I need to do. And I'm a resilient person, I'm determined, I'm ambitious, and I have to do it. So I decided to create my own place where I can help other people avoid those pitfalls. And right now I'm in the process of opening the doors to a community center by the name of RTI Empowerment Center. It is right in the center of Stoughton, Massachusetts. Before I finish, some might say, why Stoughton? Why not Brockton? From Brockton, you live in Brockton. Well, there are a lot of people in Brockton who've been in Brockton all their life and never leave Brockton, right? Why not have a center somewhere where people from all the surrounding towns can come to that one place and take back what they learned back into their community? Because the community is not just your zip code where you live. It's in your heart. If we believe in the same cause, then we're part of the same community. If we fight for the same things or against the same things, then we're part of the same community. That's my story.
Thank you. I know your mom is proud.
I didn't get to mention, sorry, I don't talk about that. That's why I don't talk about it. But my mother passed away October 29th, 2016. And even though I didn't get to show her what I really wanted to do with my life, but she had the opportunity to see me make my transition, to make my change. And that was the best thing I could do.
Stephen, this question is for you. You talked about being a co-founder of S&T Philosophies, and after I met you, when I went back to the office, I was like, I don't know if this guy is single, but I sure was trying to hook you up with everybody. Because I just felt like all of you were like my sons. I was so impressed with all of you. I was like, okay, I know Royale has a child, but I know Tech has a child. It might mean there's a baby mama or a wife somewhere. But Stephen, 25, I'm not trying to, I don't know what your life is, but. So Stephen, you talked about being a co-founder of S&T Philosophies, and the focus is to help build future leaders. You do programs and workshops to help young people get a bigger, broader picture of possibilities, and I love that. So can you share your story as it relates to faith and strategic planning?
Great question. Again, I'm honored to be here next to some phenomenal people. I mean, if I look to my left, we have Tech doing some amazing things in the community. We have Royale, the story is so, like revival. It's like almost like a revival. We have Melissa, Malika. I didn't want to mess that up, but she's doing some fantastic work in the community as well. And Pastor Mona, obviously, doing some amazing things. I'm going to give you 7 strategies I took, and I think everyone, if you follow the strategies and really apply it, you can kind of see some results from whatever dreams, goals you have for yourself. Whether it's music, whether it's acting, whatever it may be. So the first thing that I would stress the most, and it was said by Pastor Mona so many times, is belief, right? Believing in yourself, no matter your age. Me being 25, hey, listen, entrepreneurship is foreign to an African family. Like, they want to hear a doctor, they want to hear, I've got some witnesses, they want to hear a doctor, they want to hear, like, all these other things, but when you start mentioning entrepreneurship, they're like, what are you doing? It's like, what are you doing, So believing in yourself is really key, and me being the last out of 8 children, I had to believe in myself. So I started at the age of 12, just kind of aligning myself with, the right people, being in the right environment, getting the right books, watching the right things, and just kind of adding to my belief level. And what keeps me, in the fight, when we're talking about resiliency, what keeps me in the fight is praying, right? Power in prayer. How many people believe that today? Power in prayer, right? And another thing Pastor Mona was talking about was affirmations, right? Saying something positive to yourself over and over and over and over and over until it becomes habit. One of the things that I say is, I am blessed and highly favored. I'm going to need everyone to repeat it for me, okay? I am blessed and highly favored. That's one way to build my belief, and that's something that just happens naturally now, because I say it to myself and then I start doubting myself. The second step is, for the younger people, even for some older people, but for the younger people, my age and younger, live below within your means, right? Once we graduate, the first thing we're trying to do is buy a car, finance a car, or lease a car, right? Because we see our friends on Facebook doing it. It's like, oh, I'm so behind, like, let me keep up. So you go out and get a car, and your payments are higher than what you earn. So live below your means and within your means. Use that money into investing in other things, investing in yourself, right? Which leads me to my next step. Invest in yourself. Read books, right? It's $5 to order Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill on Amazon, right? But we take $5 and buy gum, or sometimes as young people, weed, drugs, whatever it may be. But it's $5 to buy Think and Grow Rich and really alter the course of your life. Did I not come down? Right? So invest in yourself, right? After you live below your means, invest in yourself. The fourth one here is keep your part-time or full-time job till your business can replace your income. Man, I've come across so many young people like, God, this great idea, and then they quit everything. I'm like, what are you doing? Now you won't be able to pay for your house, your rent. You won't be able to, eat. How are you going to eat? How are you going to be alive to build this business if you can't even provide for yourself? So keep your part-time job and your full-time job. And I like to say this, from 9 to 5, you're working on someone else's dream. And then from 5 to 1 a.m., you're working on your dream. Right? Because you matter. From 5 to 1 a.m., you're working on your dream, whether it's 4 hours of some kind of personal development, 4 hours of some kind of reading, something to help you build your belief level and keep on going because you need it.
Stephen,
Yeah.
so we have just a few more minutes.
Oh yeah, I'm in my way.
Yes. Give this to us. Thank you.
Oh. Yeah.
Go ahead, let's hear your,
All right,
last one.
I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. The last actual 3 in your 20s, you should be investing in something to help you kind of double your income, right? How many people believe in compound interest?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you should be investing in doing that. Take that extra money and put it in something that's going to help you build that. The last two things, networking, right? Your network is your network. You have to pull the trigger. You can do all these plannings, but if you don't take action, how are you gonna, grow? You was talking about help. Network with other people, meet other people. And then the last step, focus. So many young people are they have one idea and they have this, that. I mean, it can work for some, but not for many, right? And the acronym for focus is follow one course until successful. Then you can go into another thing. But that was it. I just want to wrap it up.
As we bring the panel discussion to a close, I know Malika is doing a workshop, right? You're doing a workshop. So make sure, Malika is a person that believes in tools and resources for families. So I want to make sure, even if you're not registered to go to her workshop, just make sure you get some time to just talk to her to understand, ways that you can get help, and make sure you reach out to Melinda at the Family Center. And then I think it's really important to make sure text, is it Starline Tech?
Yes.
Starline. He is giving, his barbershop is giving free haircuts to young people under the age of 13, I believe. And he has 2 barbers and a stylist back there. But he's a great person to talk to about starting a business. But listen, don't waste this time. You gotta be serious when we talk to these people up here, okay? Because that's what happens in our community. Like sometimes we're like, well, see, I have this business idea, and okay, what are you doing working towards it? So we want to talk to them. We want to be serious doers, okay? And make sure you get, you can hear Stephen. If you get in a room with Stephen, you can already know he's going to talk your ear off, and by the time you walk out, you are going to be empowered to do something, right? And then if you're battling, here's the thing. If you're here and you sell drugs on the side and you know you need to get out, I think Royale has showed you a formula and a strategy. He has taken what he used to do and listen, drug dealers are skilled. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I used to sell drugs. I use all the strategies that I use when I sold drugs to handle business. So he can tell you how to transform alternative lifestyle into one that is legal. And so you want to get with him. Don't feel like I can't tell nobody this. We have to be able to just say, hey, I want to put it out there so we can be people that are people of change, okay? I almost started to say amen. I feel like preaching right now. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
So I just want to thank you. I can't say it enough how, sometimes when you do community work, you don't always hear thank you. And so I just personally want to say thank you to all of you. I know my office is so sick and tired of hearing me talk about all you guys. But I think you guys are phenomenal, okay?
Thank you, Amin.
Q&A.
Hi guys, I'm Christy. I'm a consultant as well as community connections in Boston. And I would just like to say before I take questions, and I hope people have questions, that I feel truly blessed to have been a part of the organizing of today and being able to not only meet all of these people, some who I knew before and some who we have just forging relationships, but have truly been inspirational to me in some of the brief time that we've known each other. Watching them work, watching them talk to each other. We had a meet and greet with all of our recent workshop presenters, as well as the keynotes. And, you know, at the end of our meet and greet, Melinda and I were sitting at a table just watching them talk about businesses that they're about to grow and pop up. And it was just amazing to see people come together and really want to work together and give back to the community in new and refreshing ways. So thank you all for being a part of today. It means a lot.
Thank you.
So questions?
Hey, I'm Zach, and my question is for Royal. Yeah, Royal Manubra. So, do you live like in the inner city area, or like of like the East Side or something like that? Like possible drug deals and stuff like that is obvious. And like anything that involves the East Side mostly.
Can you ask me that one more time?
Good. Do you know people from the East Side from where you live? Like from the East Side? Like the lower income East Side area, because I live on the East Side myself too, so I just want to know. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I know. I think you're asking me if I know different people from the East Side. Yeah. I know people from the East Side, the South Side, the West Side, the North Side.
Other questions?
Hello, I wanted to say you guys did a fabulous job with all your stories and word of encouragement. I have a table out there for Rivers of Hope, but my question is, I have a 15 years old son, which he's a great kid. He don't get into fighting, things like that, but certain people he do surround himself with tend to get in a lot of trouble, and he get into trouble. His teacher will contact me and say, you know, he's doing this, he's doing that, but when we look, he's not actually the one doing it, but because he's with this or that group, we cannot not punish him as well. So he's involved with basketball. He has always been involved with basketball, but right now he's a freshman in high school, and I'm trying to find different ways to make him see the bigger picture, that friends are not always going to be around, especially friends you have in elementary or high school. Most likely he's not going to be around when you're 30, 40, 50 or whatever. You might have one great friend throughout, but majority of it will not be that. And I'm trying to avoid him going down the wrong path. So I don't know if you guys know of certain programs, certain, I don't know, clubs or something like that. I might be able to direct him.
You could send him to me. Is he there?
No, I thought this was going to be something different. And as I was listening to that, I'm like, damn it, I should have read it.
So I'll give you my phone number. I'll give you my card, my phone number. I'll give you my address. Whatever you need, I'll give it to you. But I'd like to meet him in person and spend some time with him.
we're all connected to Royale, so by default, he gets to be all of us.
Yes. That's true.
My name is Giselle. I'm related to tech. Because we can have lower communities, all people with disabilities, like Cincinnati has a Down syndrome. I think it matters for what we hear for like the imagine like where like drug dealers and alcoholism and drug use are overcome to mental illness. But to me, it doesn't matter what who really are. And Christmas College is bound to right now. They're rather go wild. That's it right now. And I like to hear your story that tell us that don't play something in the box and tell who we are. And that's why the machine has developed black community. Black people, so community too. We're all the same too. Not just people, we're all people too. Like you guys. You know what I'm saying? That's I know the rule well. That means not gangster. You're a good person.
I guess it's a statement to you young men that are up here. I'm really proud to have come, and I worked out my schedule to make sure that I was here, and I am just elated that I was here to see you guys, and I'm looking forward to introducing myself to you. But I want to encourage you by just reading this is that your story sounds so impactful that I just feel like you could be doing a workshop on your own with just your story. And I would encourage you to do that because I think that I'm interested to hear what more you could teach and share about your lives and each of your lives. And just to be able to be a mentor or an influential person in a young person's life, whether they're a young man or a young woman, it's just felt so empowering. So I would encourage you to think about how you could be involved in a panel or workshop and that inspires and pushes folks to just think and have these deeper conversations about what we can do to help and support our young people. And then as I was looking for you, Malika, and I was torn about which workshop to attend because of course I love you and I think that you are fantastic in the work that you've done in the community. But I want to also throw this question out to the organizers here. It's hard to decide on which workshop to be a part of. So I would love to know if it's possible, if you cannot attend all the various ones that are listed on these AM or PM sessions, is it possible to get any of the presentations from these powerful presenters?
Sure, we can absolutely ask them if they would like to provide their presentations.
If there's questions over here. Okay.
I was wondering, what was your network the first 2 years of your business? How did it go for you?
First 2 years, I'm going to tell you this quick story. My first 6 months opening the business, I began profiting. Why? Because I believed in myself and I believed in the business and I believed the individuals that came into the business became their business, and this is how it became profitable because it's not me, it's not myself. Once those doors open up and the people come in and we sat together and I told them, listen, yes, I came up with the name, yes, I put the money down to open it up, but this is not mine, it cannot go any further without you guys. And because of that, I have a strong team. And because of that, what I told them from the beginning, they're willing to open up their own business, which is going to be Starlight, of course. But this is how a business grows. Not just thinking about, yeah, I'm the boss, yeah, I'm the man, yeah, I own this, yeah, I found that. No, it's passing it on. And this is how your business grows. and this is how you'll be able to triple your net worth within the first 2 years. All right?
As I walk to this side of the room, in this issue of the Brockton Parent Magazine, which is out in the resource hallway, tech is actually highlighted as our community spotlight. So if you want to read more about tech, please pick up the
Hi, my name is Sil Sharif from here. I moved to the country about 9 years ago as a refugee, so I'm learning a lot about the different communities and the barriers that they face. But one theme that seems to be the strongest is how broken our families are, or the community that, usually communities that really struggle into finding economic prosperity or kind of moving up in wealth and how well they are and how well their life are is how broken their immediate family is, and that comes from generation of barriers, and you spoke to Malika, that you're just born with it. So I guess my question is, what kind of advice do you give an immediate family, a father, a mother, sons and daughters? What do you think, what's the best advice you give them so they can take their mentality off of their current environment and put a goal for themselves as a family to move forward? I think as an individual, that's great, but as a family, what can a family do collectively to pull themselves out from their current environment?
So I wanted to say, I'm going to reword and say that the family is not broken, the system is broken. So families have struggles, but there's a system in place that categorically is putting them down in every space. Even when they're trying to put themselves in better spaces, they're not allowed. And so the workshop that I'm doing, it's on resources, but it's really about reflecting on what would be available to you if you were open to it. So it's more about what barriers are you having in building trust with the community resources that are out there, and how can you use them for what you need to move forward. And so I would say that family really has to find ways to accept the support, to say what it is that they need, to be a little bit more transparent. Culturally, that's not something that a lot of cultures and families are comfortable with. They believe in keeping it in the house and trying to do their best within their family system. And a lot of times we're going to have to take a step outside. But we as a community, and the reason I think this is so important, have to help to support families by creating services and supports that are appropriate, that meet their needs, helping and advocating for them in spaces that are not made for them. Because the things are out there, the services are out there, resources are out there, and really helping shore up the hope. I think resiliency is a lot about hope, and although you can bend and not break, you can't sustain that for a long time without it eventually coming back and creating this generational cycle within your household. So I think it's all of our responsibilities to help build spaces for them, to help them utilize what's out there, and to not look at them as a broken family, but to think about the individual needs and create a system that works for them. I think it's really important to not say, broken families.
Good morning. I just wanted to say thank you for you guys being up there and telling your stories. I also want to encourage everyone, if you're good, don't be afraid to give your goodness to others. Because these kids or whoever, they need to see the goodness. Because the other ones who are out there are not afraid to approach them. In anything that you do, there's boundaries, but don't be afraid to tell a child something positive, because you never know, that positivity might change their way of thinking. So, because I hear a lot of things about drugs. I went to Boston College, and the biggest situations I've seen was on campus it was in the inner city. I've seen doctors prescribing kids medication that they have no business to prescribe them. So it's not just an inner city situation, it's a bigger situation overall. Unfortunately, the media promotes and shows it's this little thing, but it's that little thing that becomes bigger. You know, gun violence has been in the city, but then when it's in the school in a certain town, it's a situation. But the situation has always been there. So I think as you know your heart is good, share with others with boundaries, but don't be afraid.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I don't actually have a question, but it's more about networking. You guys are talking about networking. I currently am a director for the district courts. We have a program for offenders in the criminal justice system. And they're either using drugs or selling drugs. And you guys have shared your stories and been very inspirational to me. So I was wondering if you guys would get in contact so we can hopefully have you guys come and meet these individuals that need empowerment. So, thank you.
Did we get everyone? One more? Okay. One more, and then we need to move into our workshops. Okay. Two more, because my daughter said she wants to say something, so I know. Okay.
Good morning. I just want to take the time and say thank you, guys, for being so transparent. If I knew you guys were going to be here, I would have brought both of my sons. I wanted to know if you could give some advice to I'm a single mom, and I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I can't speak. But I wanted to know, because I can remember conversations I've had with my 12-year-old, and I feel like there's this search for identity and search for a definition of manhood. And so there are times we'll have conversations and I'll say, Mom, when you see stuff on TV, don't be quick to bash all the drug dealers and all the guys in gangs. And I'm like, why? And he goes, if you talk to a couple of them, a lot of them have voice. This is my 12-year-old. And he goes, if you talk to them and find out some of their histories, he goes, a lot of them are just looking for a group to identify with. And so he goes, they're looking for brothers, they're looking for men in their lives that give them validation. And so here's my 12-year-old, and I'm like, whoa. And what he's saying is true. And so what other, I guess the question I have for you right now is, what kind of organizations, I'm thinking I'm going to probably talk to you guys individually after, but what kind of organizations would you see that are out there in the community that would be possible to mentor our boys, because they're looking for identity. And unfortunately, most of the things that are portrayed in the media for Black men are either sports, music, or unfortunately the gangs. And so where else could our boys, because like when I talk to them and they're like, Mom, sometimes when you talk you sound so white, not to be mean, but I go, why is it that every time you talk to somebody that's Black and they sound somewhat educated, they sound white? I know, why is it, when you think of Black, you should take the time and go into your history. Look at all the people from Egypt, hundreds and thousands of years ago, the architecture and the intelligence, but we don't embrace that. And I go, why is it? And so I see so much of the identification with the music and the media, and it's not all real. And so where could people, single moms go to help their boys find positive male role models?
I'm going to tell you, I got one place for you. It's called RTI, Revolution to Inspire.
You can send them to us. We all work together. And the address is 769 Washington Street. 769 Washington Street. Everybody can pick out this address. 769 Washington Street, Mass. And it's that kind of work that we're focused on doing here. Right? We focus on catering to these boys in ways that they have never been catered to before.
Right, and just to kind of add on to that, 3 of us and a few other people in the crowd were actually working on something to help with that, you know what I mean? Just role models, besides athletes, and so I definitely understand that, right? Because in Boston Public Schools, when we do workshops and we'll talk to the kids and be like, you know, who's a role model? Most of them in sports, athlete or rapper. That's all they know, right? They don't see individuals like Royale. We're making an impact, tech, making an impact in the community, you know what I mean? So this RTI center is going to be the center to bring them. So, any more questions?
Alright, so it's pretty clear that you guys, all of you, have been through stuff and you have to like overcome your Royale. You said you have to unlearn in order to learn again in a different way. So I guess my question is, what habits do you guys have, or did you guys have to kind of change your route and like get to a successful place?
Well, it's a paradigm shift, right? It starts with you deciding that you want to alter how you think, right? The minute you make that decision, then the habits, it's going to be tough, but the habits will start to flow in. Like, you know, I get up 6, sometimes 3 a.m., right? The first thing I do is pray because it puts me in a great state of mind because I'm connected to not only the spirit, but now the physical world, right? And then after that, meditate. After that, work out. But these are simple habits that you can like write down, but to actually implement, they're very tough. But it takes little, small disciplines like that, where you can come up, like for yourself, you may say, I wake up every day at 7, or maybe 8 a.m., 10 a.m., whenever you wake up. Then maybe you love meditating. Does meditating put you in a great state of mind? These are questions that you have to ask yourself, and this starts with really you knowing who you are. Sit down by yourself and figure out who you are, right? Because you know you best than anyone else. So that there's no really set things that you can follow with besides you knowing what you like to do. You know what I mean? If you get up in the morning, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? And then are you going to be disciplined enough to follow what you wrote down? That's how you build a habit.
I want to ask that too. I know you should you have goals. Whoever's listening have goals. Hello?
I know that you have goals. It's important for us to write our goals down, our daily goals, because we have daily goals, we have monthly goals, we have yearly goals, and we have to write these things down. Like if I told you today that I was going to take you on a cruise, and we got on a boat with a captain, and the captain didn't have a map, where would we end up? So we gotta have goals for ourselves, and then goals to when we fall off track, to get us back on track. And the last thing I want to say is that, you know, we have to have people around us to hold us accountable. So environment is everything. So if you want to be a track star, you need to be hanging out with other athletes, other track, who run track. If you want to be a musician, you can hang out with other musicians, because they're the ones who are going to hold you accountable. And there's a saying that goes, if you hang around 9 broke people, you're bound to be the 10th one. So if you hang around 9 athletes, you're bound to be the 10th one. If you hang around 9 crackheads, you're bound to be the 10th one, right? And you can apply that to everything, whether it's positive or negative.